What's up guys, SLOTH here, and today we're doing the patch notes review for patch 4.3, Valley of Victory. This patch includes quite a few interesting new skins. It also includes a new Capture the Flag game mode, and it includes various balance changes. We'll start with the skins and then make our way down. Skins relatively quick and then more time on the balance as usual. Let's look at the skins. The first one is DJ Zeus. Really funny skin, I like it a lot, I think it's really cool. And it has some very specific, very flashy animations, especially in his ultimate. There's this whole like DJ lighting set above the cloud, basically, or instead of the cloud. So really cool skin in my opinion. We have the Thanatos, not sure what it's called. I will call it a Lucius Malfoy skin. I think that looks pretty cool in the game. The face didn't work out too well, honestly, but everything else is pretty nice in my opinion, so I dig it. The next one is a new Nike skin, now with long hair and with a, is that called battle standard in English? Flag, whatever, instead of her normal weapon. And very cool wings with like multicolored wings. So looks pretty cool in game. I think I like this one a lot as well. We have a new Susano skin, a pirate skin for him as well. Yes, it does indeed look very much like Captain Jack Sparrow, and even in game it does very much look like him. I think this is one of the best designed faces on the in-game model we've seen in SMITE so far. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Guan as a wizard riding a unicorn with glitter and rainbow animations. And that's exactly as flashy and crazy as it sounds. We have Zeus gold skins, like the reworked gold skins. And we have the ones for Guan. So, a quick glance through the voice packs as well. As always, this could be a little louder than my voice. You have been warned. I'm going to click this thing right now.
Shout out to my fans for paying my bills and listen to my dope beats.
Don't know why it echoed. Well, hey.
Obliterate!
Okay, that does not work apparently. Unfortunate.
The ram's gone. We couldn't be killing on a worse day.
But can you do this?
That voice pack actually has the standard woohoo, basically standard from Guan, by the way, which is really funny. We got the Terror Dancing mode, and we have the Capture the Flag mode, Nike's Valley of Victory. I will make this brief because there's like a lot to it. Basically, it's a Capture the Flag mode. You can only play specific gods. There are things like movement speed boosts and healing on the map. You want to have like a movement build item build mostly to capture the flag quickly. You have very interesting like path and gates and stuff on the map. It looks really, really cool. It also has a new, or it at least looked like it has a new interface, like a new UI partially. You have special abilities while carrying the flag. You can throw the flag, you can dash with the flag, and you can't use your normal abilities. Looks very interesting. It's going to last for 6 weeks, and there will be, a bundle tied to it, basically. It's called the Victory Bundle. It will bring you 15 Team Worshipper boosters, once again. It will bring you a music theme. It will bring you a banner plant global emote, which apparently scales up throughout the next event. So there will be, I think, 3 events. And with each event, there will be a new bundle. And if you get multiple bundles, you get an upgraded emote. And if you have all bundles, you have like an ultra flashy emote. You get the Conqueror Nike skin, which we saw above. And you get 1 gold key. And this gold key unlocks either the wizard Guan or the pirate Susano. You can, I don't know if you can choose, but you can get one of them for now. But when the next bundle unlocks, there will be another key. And you will be able to get the other one as well if you want to spend that money. So that's basically all there is to it. It seems very cool, and I really like the new map. It's really nicely designed. It's a really cool idea. As for everything else, we have to play it out and see how it works. The gods in this game mode are Hercules, Ymir, Anubis, Artemis, and Loki. For reasons, because it's too hard to balance with all gods, like especially global emotes, which is ruin it, pretty much. Okay, down to god achievements. We got those for Kuzenbo. And then we're going to miscellaneous. And this is actually not as miscellaneous as it sounds. It's actually pretty huge in my opinions. In my opinion. Apparently, what chat just said here, by the way, is that you can choose the reward with a gold key. And what happened is, as many of you know, pets used to remove backdoor protections on towers. Specifically, Bakasura, Bastet, Nuwa, Vulcan. The one who did not remove backdoor protections was Loki. Please understand this. This change does nothing for Loki. It is literally not affecting Loki. Just making this clear. For these gods, the backdoor protection removal is gone. That means they hit the tower as much as everyone else would if they just walk up to a tower, instead of having, well, the protections gone from that tower, or removed rather. And as such, these gods become a lot worse at split pushing. I would imagine that most of them will probably be around the same level of split pushing as maybe a Willish now with her ultimate on. Very different feel for them, though their minions will still tank tower shots, obviously. And in return for that, these gods get some other changes. Also, we have item changes, and this mostly is about aura items no longer affecting minions or pets, rather. It only applies to gods now, and this makes a difference for certain characters. I'm just not gonna go into detail because I feel like people might try and abuse it last minute. Doesn't really matter. It's gonna be gone anyways, so don't even try to learn it. So we get Hotwood, Pestilence, Pythags, Sov, Void Shield, Void Stone, Ward Stone, all only applying to gods. Changes a little bit also in how lanes develop, because like with certain effects going on minions, it would like make minions tanky and stuff like that. That is also gone. So yeah, bit different. Hand of the Gods, just a description fix. These are the real changes. Frenzied Ritual, duration taken down from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. Makes it, in my opinion, significantly weaker. You really have to coordinate it well with your team not to use it. You can't just throw it out there and hope like within the next 10 seconds somebody will do something. You really have to, go in and use Frenzy. It's still going to be okay. It's not going to be bad by any means. And I think the duration change was justified. Redding Ritual sees a change similar to that, or rather different, but similar style of taking it down a notch. It can no longer be used on someone who is already being teleported to, and is no longer usable on someone who is already teleporting. What does that mean? You cannot go and teleport like on one person with 4 people and backdoor the Titan. And that was the big problem with it. What you can still do is, somebody uses teleport on a ward, somebody uses rallying ritual on them, and then you use 2 other rallying rituals, and you still get your team there within 10 seconds, or like 4 people of your team. So it's not terrible, but it is a little harder than before. Bomba's Mask. Thank God. Bomba's Mask no longer requires last hitting of jungle monster to receive the passive benefit. Instead, Bomba's Mask will now only apply the passive bonus mana health gold, to the closest god with Bomba's Mask that is within assist range of a defeated camp. What does that mean? As a mid laner, you can still get Bombas all the same. It doesn't change anything in that regard, aside of the fact that your jungler will no longer hate you unless you walk up really close to a camp. As long as the jungler is the closest to the camp, he will get the rewards. And as long as no one else around him has Bombas, he will also get the rewards. And that means that the jungler will most of the time get the gold and the health and the mana. And that's especially good for those junglers who are more focused on gold farming, because you actually get all those last hits now. They're going to be decently more farmed, especially in lower levels of play. Well, the only one who could prevent it is somebody else going with Bombas and running into the minions trying to leech that gold. But I think if you did that, your jungler would quickly walk away from the camp and let you tank it as well. The next one is, in my opinion, probably the most questionable change in these patch notes. And that is Sands of Time. Sands of Time is the relic, the starter that is picked up on mages all the time though, because everyone wants MP5, as stated in the description here. And because of that, Sands of Time gets more MP5. Because it's picked up all the time, because MP5 is so highly valued. It gets more MP5, because it's the most picked up relic. That's starter, for mages, which also has cooldown reaction. And a lot of MP5. And it gets more MP5. Right. The logic here, the idea behind this is that Vamp Shroud and Soulstone also get more mana. So Soulstone now heals 40 mana when consuming 5 stacks. Vamp Shroud gets 5 mana instead of 8 mana instead of 5 mana per enemy killed. So they get a little more mana. Is that gonna change anything? Maybe for Soulstone. I don't think Vamshot, like, there's a few gods that can maybe make use of it, like those that really want to get, like Shang Kui, maybe, but not really, you know, he'd rather get Soulstone as well, actually. So Vamshot, don't see any reason to pick it up now. Soulstone, though. Soulstone allows some gods to clear much better. It gives some gods, like, really strong early bursts, like Scylla, for example, always liked her Soulstone, and we might see a return there now. They give some mana again. But Sands of Time is even better now, and I don't see why. It was perfectly fine with that 1.5 MP5 per stack, because it already gave a lot of mana, and because this affects more than just middle lane. This affects junglers as well, for example, because there are magical junglers, and magical junglers make use of Sands of Time as well. Very decently, actually. And by giving them that, they just get more MP5 for no reason. So it's just a thing, you know. So I don't really think this is a good idea at all. I don't really think that giving Sands of Time more MP5 is a good idea. Everything else, these two are fine with me, but don't buff an item that's already being picked up the most. Next one is Shield of Regrowth. Shield of Regrowth sees some decent nerfs. 100 gold cost increase, but also a 100 health reduction from 300 to 200. And that, I think, is pretty impactful. So, yeah. That is gonna make Shield of Regrowth being picked up less, for sure. It's just gonna be on very specific gods and very specific situations. So those who do make good use of it will still do that, though, because of the CDR especially. I think Thanatos, Hercules, it's not gonna go anywhere there, for example. God changes. Bastet. Open Wounds gets a buff. Open Wounds now increases the damage from 15, instead of 15% by 20% for the next ability. They're gonna change much? Maybe in the like mid game a little bit. You have to keep in mind that she can only proc this on a 1, 2, and 3. And when she procs it, she needs one ability to proc it, and the second one will remove the open wounds in favor of the extra damage. Which, if I recall correctly, then doesn't apply for more than the stat. Which means it just basically does more damage on one ability. I may be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Haven't played the stat in a while. And if it's exactly what I'm thinking it is, it's a bit of damage, but it's not going to make up for her not having backdoor protection removal. And she was already not very popular. Now, with not as much backdoor, I mean, her cash still do decent damage to structures, and so does she, but Bastet was a split push god. That's just what she was. She's not a late game god at all. She didn't have much late game. She did have some, but not much, and I don't think that's going to be a thing now. So she's going to drop down, I think. And she wasn't high tier to begin with. The next change I can agree with much more, and that's Izanami. Base damage decreased from 40 to 36. Why is that so? Because she could insta-clear basically on level 1. No, not insta-clear, but very fast, very strong. And with this, that scales down. That's good. That's a good nerf. Nothing to talk about there. Question is, why is Izanami nerfed, but Apollo's forgotten? I don't think Apollo needed major nerfs, but I think he needed, like, Izanami level nerfs. Didn't get those. Well, whatever. Kuzenbo. Quite a few changes here. It wasn't needed. I think he was not in like the best place yet. So some description fixes, and now some actual changes. Shell spikes can now be activated while Kuzenbo is under the effects of crowd control. I think this is a very interesting new mechanic, because usually, you know, you get immune to crowd control when you use anything in it, which is basically like beats. But in this case, it's you are still being CC'd, but you have spikes. So you're not going to get beat down while you have those spikes. And I like that. I like that as a new approach on how to make a god more viable that is maybe suffering from not being in the right place yet. So I think this is good. Watery Grave, duration reduction, but still a buff overall, I would say. Damage increase on the first hit. It's actually 60 more damage in the last rank. And then per tick as well, 30 more per tick. This is quite a lot of damage, especially when you consider it's a large AoE. He also gets 45% movement speed instead of 35 while being CC immune, meaning he can really keep you in that thing. Yes, you lose the damage, like a bit of the damage, because, you know, you can only hit them one time less, but usually you would not be able to hit them with every single hit anyways, like depending on how they play and how they're positioned. And as such, this extra damage is very handy. And with the extra movement speed, sticking to the enemies better is also a good thing. And he can also not be knocked up during the warm-up of this ability. And this is actually important because it's happened to me quite a few times, that you would just go into your ultimate and then just like last second you get interrupted before it actually goes off, and that's gone as well. So that makes his ultimate a lot more usable. Then there's Sumo Slam getting a damage increase. Not crazy, but a little bit. He's just like going up to 80 and then they're going up to 200. I think overall this puts him in a more damagey position. I was originally thinking more towards Ymir, but I don't think it's quite Ymir. What I'm thinking now is he's going in the direction of where Xing Tian is going, or where Xing Tian already is. And I think that's an interesting approach. I think that's where he could be. Maybe like somehow get him going in solo a little more. I think this will help his solo clear if he plays it right. So could be cool. Could be interesting. I think those changes are very much justifiable. I don't know if he's going to be OP now. I don't think so. But I think he's definitely going to be a lot better. And that ultimate is something to look out for. Let's see how it goes. Nua, Shining Metal. Because of the backdoor protection rule, she gets a buff. Shining Metal now 65% scaling instead of 50%. And the Mini Explode is therefore scaled down by 5%. Overall, more damage though, because you can just use it on its own again now. It does more damage. And it's 15% on a mage. That's quite something. That's not bad. And Shining Metal doesn't have the longest cooldown. Again, it's not going to break her, I think, but it does give her some damage. I feel like this feels better to me than the change to Bastet, because Nua is not completely out of the meta anyways. Like, she's played, and with this, she can do things. She was never primarily a backdoor god anyways. Then there is Osiris. This one's heavy. So Osiris, the point of this buff was that Osiris doesn't do enough in the late game. He doesn't have enough damage, not enough scaling, because he's like so early focused. And he gets a solid damage increase across the board. Sickle Strike gets 10% extra scaling and up to 20 base damage on the highest rank. A bit, What I think is more important though is Spirit Flail. Spirit Flail gets 25% extra scaling. That is not little. 25% is quite decent. From 50 to 75% scaling. And it gets less base damage like in the first ranks. It starts at 70 instead of 80. But it scales higher. It scales up to 290 instead of 280. What will this do with Osiris? I don't know what exactly it does for solo. Because in the end, what you pick in solo most of the time are gods that have some late game impact in forms of control. You have, Amaterasu, Vamana, with some sort of control as well due to how he functions in a team fight, and Tyr, Herc. Not all late game, but, you get the idea. With Osiris, you have the 3. Outside of the 3, you have the anti-heal on the ultimate, and you can lock down a single target, but he's still a bully. But at the same time, this damage increase is so drastic, and it's going to mean that he deals so much more damage no matter how he builds. And I think we can maybe see some more damage-oriented Osiris. I have been playing Osiris Jungle lately. It's a cheesy thing, to be honest. I don't think it would work on like high levels of play, but it's very fun, and he feels very strong there as a bully, because you can do so little. And with that buff, it's just going to snowball out of control if he gets any traction. Because his damage is going to be insanely high. And I think that's very impactful, especially with how often his abilities can be used as well. This is something worth keeping in mind. He doesn't have very long cooldowns. He can just, chase an enemy down, lock them down, and use this over and over, and always going to have more damage. So, yeah, that is pretty damn good. I don't know if it was needed to that drastic extent, honestly. Red Tusker. Red Tusker gets nerfs. No surprise there. If you've watched SPL, he was very good. He was showing up. First change, Acre of Yggdrasil. The second stage of it cost 700 instead of 500. Very much justifiable, just makes the price gap a little better as well anyway. So, yeah, just doesn't give him as much early. Fine. Dart, decreased cooldown reduction from Flurry and Acorn Blast from 2 seconds to 1 second per god hit. That I think is quite a significant nerf because he really works with this mobility that he's getting through dart and through the low cooldown by using other abilities. With that taken from him, that he takes a hit there. He takes a hit there for sure. The biggest one, through the cosmos. Landing radius decreased from 25 to 20. I personally am, I play red a lot, so I'm biased here, obviously, but I'm not happy with that because I think Thor has his radius, Thanatos has his radius, Rat have his radius. Nope. It's gonna be a lot less teamfight focused now because you still use it on a single target. I'm pretty sure you're still gonna hit most of the time, but it's not gonna be the same drastic impact in a team fight when the enemies are clustered up, and that makes a difference. And I don't like that. I don't like that being taken away from him. I would rather see like other nerfs, and I think the dot nerf alone is already quite something, but that's just me. And I think it's gonna take him down a notch overall for sure. Sol gets buffs. I can understand that Sol was like the magical ADC that didn't do all too much anymore. Yeah, Kronos is also not doing too much, but not as little as Sol for the most part, though she did see some play in the SPL. What's interesting here is Radiance getting a buff of an unusual sort. Cooldown reduced from 15 seconds to 13 seconds, meaning your basics are going to be quicker and stuff as well. But the interesting thing here is change the healing from scaling up from 5 to 25% to 25% at all ranks. And this is important because usually don't level Radiance first. Usually level her 2 first, is a Stellar Burst, and then you level the 1. And you want to put some points in the ult in between, mostly. And with this being at level 1, at rank 1, you can sustain so well in lane compared to before. It's going to be a lot of healing. She's going to sustain a lot. And yeah, I think that's going to be quite significant. Supernova also gets a buff. Damage from successive hits increased from 20% to 30%. So if you're good Sol and you hit a lot of those strikes with the ultimate, you're going to deal more damage now. And that's going to be pretty huge in teamfights. I think this is cranking Sol up quite a fair bit. I'm pretty sure we will see more Sol again. And I am not completely opposed to it because I think Sol is a very fun character in her own way. The next one is Terra. Terra gets a buff. And this is probably one of the more annoying parts of this patch. Monolith now deals from 70 up to 200 damage, plus 50, I would say this is probably percent of your magical power immediately when broken by force of nature. Use the damage per tick from 15 to 35 to 10 to 18. Overall, Monolith now deals 20 more base damage at all ranks. Fix an issue where it could be damaged by minions or jungle monsters. That's good. That's a good fix. I don't think that Terra needed another instant damage ability. I fully understand, I'm fully aware that Terra is probably the lowest damage guardian. But she had tools that made up for that. She is a healing guardian with a zoning ability, with the global ultimate that basically saves people's ass countless times is played right. With a double dash. The thing she doesn't have is damage. Instant, confirmable damage. The 3 is something where you have to stand around in, so it's a zoning tool. It's good in a team fight where you root someone down and they die in there, but now it's going to be instant damage. And I don't know why. Because now she has 3 instant damaging abilities, she will deal more damage, and there's no reason. I think not having that instant damage is part of what made Terra unique. And I don't like that this unique part is basically taken away and she's become the standard next guardian with, we have a bit of everything. All the gods need a bit of everything. And I don't think she needed that at all. I don't like it at all. Really, the most unnecessary change this patch, I think. Despite of this is not strictly talking about a point of balance. I think there's very much justifiable reasons why you would want to maybe buff Terra here and there, though she was played in the SPL by Divos in solo as a tank to counter Thana, partially. Now she's actually going to do something in solo as well. Now she's going to clear pretty quickly. But, you wanted it. And the last one is Thoth. That's a joke. Evade and punish now stops at the first enemy god hit. I only learned a few weeks ago that it actually goes through more than one god, which I found stupid in the first place. I actually thought it would only stop at the first god, like always. It does no longer do that now. It stops at the first god, but it's still a freaking stun on a god that doesn't need a stun. Same thing here. In the beginning, he had long range, bad mobility in comparison. He had one escape on a long cooldown, high damage, no CC. Then they reduced the CC, the CD on his escape. Now he has good mobility, long range, high damage, and then they decided to give him CC as well. So now he has CC as well. Can we just friggin' take that away? I don't know a single person that actually wants to stun on evade and punish. And I'm including people who play Thoth past Mastery 10. They'd rather see like the ult being like cranked up a little bit and taking the stun away, because he doesn't need it. He really doesn't need it. With that, we're concluding the patch notes. I think there are a lot of interesting changes, a lot of cool skins. I'm looking forward to the new mode as much as I hope there's going to be like maybe removal of the mode of the day or something. But yeah, anything like that. God changes. Some are really cool. Towards the end, it became pretty questionable. And as always, I'm wondering why some gods are just completely left out from the changes. Bakasura, namely, is just one I'm pointing out here. And some of the top performing gods who might need some nerfs. With that, thank you guys for watching. Duke Sloth out.